Yesterday, the Prime Minister's office announced China is prepared to provide $1 billion as a loan for the construction of the first phase of the Central Expressway. It noted this quote-unquote good news was conveyed to the Prime Minister when he called on the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka. But is obtaining a loan of $1 billion something to be happy about?
When Mahinda Rajapaksa was elected president in 2005, the total debt obtained by the country at that time was 2,222 billion rupees. In 2010, that is when Mahinda Rajapaksa reached the halfway mark of his decade-long reign, the debt had increased to 4,590 billion rupees. When the new government was elected following his defeat in 2015, the total debt of Sri Lanka was 7,391 billion rupees. As of 2017, under the present government, the total debt of the country had increased to 10,313 billion rupees. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the reason for the government's debt burden to increase is because the government's revenue is at a low. The Central Bank says the revenue generated was not even sufficient to cover the daily cost of the country during the past several years. As a result of this situation, loans have to be obtained to repay the previously obtained debt and for large-scale projects as well as for the daily expenses of the country. According to data from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, when the country entered into 2018, the debt-to-GDP ratio was 77.6%. How will a loan obtained as very high interest rate for road construction benefit the country rather than obtaining government-to-government concessionary aid for strategic development projects?
They boast of a $1 billion loan. However, that will be used up immediately after obtaining it. This year, we have to repay $4 billion in international loans. We need to locate funds for that. In the village, you find the money lender. When they get to know of our need, they offer money at 10%. If the need is urgent, we will obtain money at 10%. The present government follows that process to obtain loans. During the past 3 years, this government has spent 1,100 days in power. They have incurred a debt of 3,300 billion rupees. That means 3,000 million rupees in debt per day. The government went on selling whatever they can, and now they are planning on selling off state enterprises that generate revenue. This is because of the difficulty in obtaining loans from overseas. Conditions have been imposed by the ADB, the World Bank and the IMF, and they need to meet those conditions. This is not the skill or talent of the government. Under this system, we cannot take the country forward without obtaining debt.
When you have a look at the central bank annual report, it is very clear the highest debt repayment in history will be in 2018, 2019 and 2020, and we feel the pressure until 2022. In such a situation, large loans are obtained. One can say this would increase the country's debt burden and lead the country towards bankruptcy. My view is that the government has not identified the priorities in development. I believe the government must prioritize rapid road development in the western province.
The Prime Minister said that the $1 billion loan from Sri Lanka for the expressway is good news for the country. They continuously said it is impossible to repay what obtained by those who were in power before. And now they are having fun saying they obtained a large loan. Why is $1 billion given? Chinese firms will come to the country with their own labor force for the construction of the expressway, and there won't be any opportunity for Sri Lankans to work there. If $1 billion is for that, what will happen to the people who gave up their lands and lost their homes? Who will be paying for the compensation for them? When all this is added to the economy, will our children and children's children ever be able to repay these loans?
Recently, the newly elected Prime Minister of Malaysia made a statement about his country's economy, and would it not apply to Sri Lanka as well?
In the case of Najib, what he does is he invites foreign investment from China to buy property in Malaysia, develop whole sophisticated towns which are priced beyond the reach of Malaysians, and the chances are that this development will be for outsiders, including mainland Chinese, to come and live here. That is not foreign direct investment. And none of our people are employed as workers. None of our companies are used for designing and planning and supervising, etc. We gain nothing.
So would your way be to put a quota, a limit on Chinese FDI in Malaysia?
No, there is already a good definition of FDI. They want to come and set up factories here, using our workers, using our managers. They're welcome like everybody else.